All right, we're on. We're on. Welcome to Disco Acid Cult TV. Um, yeah, fucking A. We're doing an impromptu stream.
Yeah, I'm like the invisible man here.
Yeah, Mark is the invisible man tonight because we're trying to preserve power on his phone as he streams from the eye of the hurricane.
Yep. It's wild. Like you said, we got power back after 5 days, but no internet. Most gas stations are down. What's up, Protomax?
How far do you have to drive to get gas?
Not far, but the wait is like, it could be 30 minutes to an hour. What's up, Grimrock? But
What's
yeah,
the blue murder?
it's just an inconvenience. I mean, I have no room to complain when there's people literally like their whole families are dead and there's thousands of people missing. It's horrible what they're going through in North Carolina. But yeah, we're just dealing with more like inconveniences, and we have no room to complain compared with those other people are dealing with. But yeah, that's where we're at.
The fake emo thing will never die. That's for sure.
Did that come through?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Respect to Mark. Maybe a fake emo, but can't deny the dedication.
What did you hear? I can't even see. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, anyone here, obviously, if Mark's audio starts
I'm like trying to like put eyeliner on and fill that fucking void.
Dude, the fucking the lines for gas.
Is everything I'm saying coming through all right or no?
The last couple things you cut out for a minute, but you're back. Blue Murder is a band. Tony Franklin is the bass player. Talk to him. Oh, you shouldn't be skipping out on bands.
You can hear me straight though, or?
I can hear probably like 75% of what you're saying.
Okay.
It sounds more like I'm coming to you late because I start talking and then it sounds like you're replying to the dude. Even the M on your like square is getting blurry.
Fucking A.
Oh, that's hilarious. Have you talked to your neighbors?
Yeah, they all don't have power. Let me try to go outside. They all don't have power either. Or not power. They have power. We don't have internet.
Yeah, that's crazy that the internet, like you said, you'd think it'd be some inconvenient, weird shit, like the opposite. Like you have internet somehow, but no power or some weird shit.
What about now?
Your audio quality sounds better now.
I'm over here like old school signal outside.
I cut out a little bit again, but your quality sounds better.
Yeah, this may not work.
You're like you're holding your phone up to the sky like it's 2004.
Just want to friggin' stream,
dude. I don't even know what I was gonna say. The spontaneous streams are always a good idea. It is funny that this happens now. Like you just got some new gear and like we were all ready to go.
I know. And when the power came on, I was like, dude, I get to use all that, and I can set up my room that I've been trying to set up for this. And here we are. This may not work.
Well, yeah, I figured this was going to be a risk. Even if it doesn't, if you have to take off, I'll entertain the masses for a little bit at least. So you're off work for like a week now?
Yeah, so I'm off for the next 6 days. My 8-day stretch is done. Yesterday, I got called in twice, as you very well know, and dealt with that. Literally got 4 hours of sleep. I had some weird dreams, and it was about, like, you guys were in them, but I don't want to say what it was because it's so vulgar and weird that it's going to make you,
Uh, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
yeah, it was pretty bad shit. I woke up, I was like, what the fuck? Because when you're like really running low on sleep, like you have those weird dreams and shit. You can't control it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have good service right here at my back door.
Yeah, it does seem to be better at the back door.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, they say everything is better in the back door.
Right, exactly. But what I was saying earlier, which I don't know if you got all of it, but yeah, so we're just dealing with inconveniences. It's terrible, what they're dealing with in North Carolina. These people, thousands of people missing, hundreds dead. It's horrible. It's a complete disaster up there. Towns are completely gone. So I have no room to complain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard that like every bridge in pretty much that place is just gone now.
Yeah. So Chimney Rock, and Lake Lure, that entire area is gone. Like there's actual towns that are like demolished and they'll come back, but it's going to take years.
Yeah, that's all that's yeah, like losing your whole fucking city and town. If there's anyone had to try and put one positive on it, the only thing I could think is that the rebuilding process will, I guess, create work for some people.
Right.
That's about it. Construction companies will start booming for a little bit, but yeah, it'll take years. That's the crazy thing is that it takes years to like build back. I always think about not to just start getting on the topic of like explosive tragedies, but like Japan, when Japan got nuked, like it probably took them like 2 generations to build back.
Right. Yeah, that any kind of major disaster where innocent people get screwed over like that is horrible. The thing
And
that's stuck. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quick, and when it's nature, that's the worst. I can't remember. My grandpa has made a joke that I thought was kind of funny, but like weirdly dark. He said something about one time. My grandpa is just like fucks around and like jokes like at random times. I don't remember what it was. He was saying something about like acquire as many skills as you can because nothing can take it away from you. And then he paused and he was like, "Well, except for nature." I was like, "Oh,
Right.
oh no." And then I've also heard a quote that says, like Mother Nature is the best serial killer of all time. And I always thought that was a pretty good one.
It's true, dude. The sheer power of like a storm or like any kind of nature nature's wrath is amazing. Like there's videos of in North Carolina these shipping containers that like a shipping container, it's super hard to crush even with like machinery.
Yeah.
And like shipping containers are hitting trees and crumpling like fucking cans. It's it really is amazing. But I don't know
Yeah,
if you hear the background. There's a train that goes through fucking woods behind my house and it's loud as shit.
I
Hi.
like the sound of trains. But yeah, there's just nothing you could do about it. Like there's something you can do, but like, you know, you can keep a gun in your house so if somebody breaks in, shoot that motherfucker. But like if there's some kind of things that you can prepare for. What do you I mean, unless you've got your like unless your entire house is underground, which is not gonna happen. If a hurricane's coming, like if a tornado's coming,
Right.
yeah, it's like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, the big, like I was telling you earlier, the big thing that bothered me the most was the stories of like they're saying they're like now that the water is subsiding that they're finding people like families like mothers clinging to children dead. Like they're finding them like literally still clinging onto each other. I guess rigor mortis sets in and you're fucking dead. But like I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine that seeing that or
Oh,
like that.
yeah, they're gonna be finding bodies like on rooftops and shit for months, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you can see comments. Annie's in the chat. She says, get this guy Mark off the stream. I hate him. I can't even see his face, but I know he's the ugliest motherfucker in the world.
Who said that, Annie?
Yeah, Annie said all that in one comment.
Thanks, Annie. Sorry, I'm not beautiful like you.
She actually just said hi, hello.
You piece of shit. I'm like I wasn't offended, but I was like, damn, that's pretty harsh for Annie. Shit.
Grimrock. I'll start reading comments just in case you can't see them. Grimrock, dang, that is west and more inland than Charlotte, isn't it?
Yeah,
He said something about I think he said I Travis 77 through Statesville and Charlotte.
yeah. So I'm like an hour and 45 from Charlotte. Yeah, it's more inland west. So I'd say an hour from Charlotte west, around that area is where it got hit the most. Asheville, North Carolina, if you've ever heard of that. Very big hipster community up there. Cool area, but like very, very hipster, very liberal, which is ironic. But not that that has anything to do with what went on, but it's just like a complete different world than South Carolina up there.
Wait, did that place get flooded? Are we saying God flooded the hipsters?
Yeah, God flooded the hipsters. Yeah.
Because
It
I've
was,
always said if I became president, I would criminalize hipsters. So I get it.
right. I don't know why I even brought that up. That has nothing to do with like the nature, like what happened. Like, yeah, it's a very different area. But yeah, these poor people got screwed. It's horrible.
Dude,
No, no offense to hipsters or people that wear beanies in the summer.
the beanies in the summer thing, I get and I don't get. Like I was definitely did my fair share in like middle school and high school wearing hoodies in the summertime, acting like it wasn't that hot and I was dying. I've got this bandana on and it's kind of hot in my room, but yeah, you know, whatever. But then there are people that it's kind of religious with the beanie in the summer and it's kind of strange.
Yeah. So I worked with this like really hardcore Italian dude, like a very old Italian guy. One of our operators was a hipster, and he's like, "Why do you wear a goobaline in the summer?" And I'm like, "What? Goobaline? It's a winter hat. Why are you wearing it in the summer?" He didn't understand. Like, it's like a thing. Yeah,
A goobaline?
a
I'm gonna
goobaline.
start saying that.
I think I found the
That's
sweet spot here
hilarious. Is
on the back patio,
you cut out
holding the phone up to the
when you
sky.
started talking about the Italian guy?
I think we're good now.
Are you holding your phone up to the sky like it's 2005?
But anyway, I am. This is dedication. You're never going to find another host that's going to do this. Just know. Was it cutting out again?
Man. It did for a second. I can pick up most of what you're saying. I would imagine anyone that's watching could hear exactly what I hear.
Right.
So I think they could pull it together. I'm not worried. It's a fucking random Thursday night stream too. If Saturday doesn't get any better, then we can just do that movie another time too. We'll try it out.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be good.
I didn't even think about Saturday until just now. Grimrock says use a metal coat hanger in the charging slot to get better reception with a tongue out face.
Yeah, I'm going to stick a butter knife in an outlet as well to try to.
Actually, if you take the metal coat hanger and connect it from the phone charger to an outlet, it'll give your phone an extra charge and it should power it up a little bit more too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had I've never put anything in a outlet. I swallowed a penny one time when I was a kid, I remember, and then after that, I have these two little like basically like behind my ears, I have two little like I'm sure everyone has them in their ears. I don't know how to explain them other than there's just like two harder parts on the back of your ears. And on one of my ears, I thought that was the penny. So for a long time in my childhood, I thought I swallowed this penny and then it went to my ear. And I was like worried that my mom would somehow find out. And obviously the penny did not go to my ear. But yeah, for a couple, I don't know how long, but for a while I was convinced that something that I feel on my ear was the penny that I swallowed.
Yeah, I think everybody as a kid did something like that. I put light bulbs in a blender and turned it on. That was pretty fucking impressive.
That must have been badass, actually. I want to do that right now.
Yeah. Oh, super random. But a dude at work told me a joke today. It was pretty fucking wild. I couldn't believe he said this, and it was hilarious at the same time. If it comes through clear, I want to tell you it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do Michael Jackson and caviar have in common?
Michael Jackson and caviar?
Common.
I can't think of anything.
You don't know.
Say what?
They both white crackers.
Oh, Jesus
They
Christ.
both come on pretty fucking bad.
That does sound like a joke that I would imagine hearing at your place of work.
Yes, yeah. And I literally was like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. Pretty fucking random.
Protomex, where were you that there was just a Jack and Coke sitting around? I would imagine it had to be like a family thing, like a holiday thing, but yeah, I have no idea. If we're doing like drinking stories when you're too young, I have a really good one. It was either like I think it was probably my either freshman or sophomore year of high school. I was, I used to take liquor out of my parents' liquor cabinet, and it was the night before Thanksgiving. And it's one of the very few times I've drank until I blacked out. I think I just said drinking. One of the few times I've drank until I blacked out, and I was just downstairs, and we had to go to like a family Thanksgiving dinner thing the next day. And so I blacked out downstairs, and it's like midnight or it's late at night, and I basically woke up on the couch with my mom, and my mom is just like obviously like bummed, like hella pissed at me. She told me the next day that she came downstairs and she found me like singing on the couch to myself, and then she basically was like, she's like, yeah, I had to pick you up, and she asked me what I was drinking, and she said I stumbled into the kitchen and pulled out the milk from the fridge and tried to tell her that I drank too much milk and I feel sick. And then the next day I was hungover as shit. One of my mom's favorite things to do as like a punishment was you would wake up the next morning and like I'd go to grab my cell phone, which at the time was a Razor, off the nightstand, and like the battery would be out of it. So she would just take the battery and not say shit, and you would just know like, okay. So it's almost like she was like fucking with you like that. But yeah, I woke up and my phone didn't work. There's no battery, and she didn't tell anybody at the Thanksgiving party, but it was like I just felt like shit the entire day and had to like pretend like I was fine.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was definitely like it was like freshman or sophomore year. So it was like 2009, 2010, maybe 2011. But yeah, apparently I tried to convince her it was the milk.
Have you ever taken like your parents' alcohol and replaced like water, like put water in it to like get the bottle back
No,
full? Like I used to do that.
I've never replaced it because aside from that one time, I really never took that much. Like one time I took like a couple drinks of like a cranberry Smirnoff or raspberry Smirnoff or whatever it was. I never drank enough of it to need to replace it. Plus my parents really don't drink all that much. So I don't think they like, they never would have noticed. The only reason my mom noticed this night is because she came downstairs and found me fucking blacked out. And then I'm sure that night it was noticeable how much I drank when she looked at the bottle, but I never had to replace it.
Love the milk excuse. Like your drunk mind thought, this is the best excuse I have. I drank too much milk.
Yeah, it was not my finest moment. Apparently, it's I guess I thought it was gonna work. Other than that, I've only drinking. I keep saying drinking. I've only drank until blackout one other time. But yeah, it sucks that 50% of I've blacked out on other stuff plenty of times, but as far as alcohol, 50% of my alcohol blackout was spent in the kitchen downstairs.
So P. Diddy.
Yeah, what do you know about that?
I hear that half the people accusing him of rape and like kidnapping, even half of them are men, half of them are women. I found that he read that he had thousands of not thousands, but oh wait, no, it was thousands of bottles of baby oil in his house. He'd have sex parties and force people to do drugs. Pretty interesting stuff.
Really quick, Grimrock, that was a great show. I loved Foster's Home. But yeah, Diddy, I'm curious to know. I'm getting my hopes up when I say that I wonder if any other celebrities will get caught up. They won't. We all know he's the fall guy. LeBron's not, LeBron talking about ain't no party like a Diddy party. Like, I want to know what LeBron knows. We'll never find out. It's a bummer, but we'll never know. I want to know what happened to Justin Bieber because I think it's pretty obvious now that something happened to Justin Bieber. But I also respect him not talking about it. If I was a man who was now married and had a baby, I wouldn't want to go out in public and talk about Diddy fucking me in the ass when I was younger because that's just kind of, you don't want that. Yeah, you don't want that being out there. But yeah, I'm imagining Diddy's the only guy he's gonna go to prison. He's probably gonna die. Honestly, I'm not gonna be surprised if he dies. But
So my question to you is, do you think or what do you think the reasoning for like these people going off the rails is? Like, here's a guy that came from nothing, right? Came from nothing, built this entire empire and became super loaded and had everything that we ever wanted in life, and he ruined it, just like Bill Cosby, just like R. Kelly, just like all these other guys. Why do you think the reasoning is for this? Do you think that they just forget where they came from, or they just are too fucked up with the partying situation? Like, what do you think makes somebody go from, rags to riches, go over the edge, like ruining their entire life for sex? Like, what do you think the reasoning is for that?
I have an answer before that. Just one comment. Protomax, do you think LeBron, do you go LeBron over MJ? My buddy, Tristan, I think he also thinks LeBron is better than MJ. I think that's blasphemy, but that could just be like a generational thing. Why I think those people go off the rails like that, I think it's one, I think part of where they came from was P. Diddy, did he come from a pretty shitty background? Do we know?
I'm pretty sure he came from like nothing.
Okay, so I think that has a lot to do with it. I think when you come from nothing and then one day someone hands you $1 million, of course you're gonna kind of get a little wild. And then on top of that, it sounds like he got into some other stuff.
So this is where I'll disagree with you on the, coming from nothing and getting money thing. I feel like somebody gave me all this money, and I know what it's like to work, blue collar work every fucking day. Like, I would be so appreciative that I would make sure that I would never ruin what happened. I would never want to ruin this golden opportunity. Maybe I just think different. You know what I mean? Like these, I don't know.
I was gonna say, I obviously know you a little bit, so I do trust your character. But one thing I will say is that I don't think any of us can say that until we're given $1 million.
Right. I guess we don't really know what we would, but I would like to think, dude, like, look at what I just did the other night, pulling, all these hours with no sleep, like to be rich and never have to.
Yeah, no, it's true. I also like to think I'd be the same. I also like to think I wouldn't start fucking smoking fentanyl again if someone handed me $1 million. I just,
it'd be the ultimate petty fumble.
Yeah, I'd be fumbling. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure about $1 million, I could afford to ditch girls in the middle of making out with them to go buy drugs, and then they'd let me come back still because I have $1 million.
Yeah. Do you ever see the Chappelle Show, P. Diddy episode? Pretty funny.
I don't remember it. I know I've seen a lot of the Chappelle Show I caught some of it when I was younger because my uncle used to watch it. But I know he's joked about that. I know a lot of people have joked about Diddy throughout the years. There's it's kind of like how Courtney Love talked about Harvey Weinstein back in the early 2000s, and everyone just kind of thought it was just Courtney Love being Courtney Love, and then people are always talking about the stuff, just no one ever pays attention because they don't really know.
Right.
But yeah, I do. I think it's just. I think. Yeah. I think it's just money. I think some people just get like carried away with it. I think.
Yeah,
And then
Grimrock.
also in the Diddy case, it sounds like he got like into some weirder stuff. Like people are talking about like. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it, but people are talking about like weird CIA stuff going on with him too, which you know, that could be a whole bunch of.
Very weird.
Some of that comes from Kanye, and who knows how reliable of a source Kanye is, but
Yeah, I agree with what Grimrock said down there.
let me pull it up again. Yeah, you always hear money fix everything. People buy people out with money. Another thing that I think about it is you can't really change people. So I always think about like gangsters when it comes to like rap in the rap world. You get these like gangsters that are really good rappers. And so they start making millions of dollars, but they continue acting like gangsters because that's just who they are. You can't change them. So now all you're doing is giving a drug dealing gangster like $5 million. Of course, he's going to continue dealing drugs and like shooting at the ops or whatever you want to call it. Like,
The ops.
yeah, it's they're still going to continue. Now all it is a millionaire gangster. So he's just capable of more dangerous things. Like if P Diddy was probably a bad person all his life, but now he's just got money to really act on being a bad person.
Right. My thing is like you can have any woman you want. Like if you want to have orgies, dude, I'm sure you could find women that will be willing to do it. Why do you got to force these people to do it? It's pretty sick.
I have an answer for that. I think people get bored with it. I think it's the same reason they're like old rich guys start doing weird stuff with kids because they have had all the best looking broads in the world and it's not exciting anymore. And I
Right.
think at some point some shit gets weird in their head and they think, oh, maybe it'd be exciting to do some shit that's illegal. I'll go find a fucking 17-year-old and then, oh, I'll do some shit with a 50. Like, it just gets weird. It just gets weird. They just are constantly seeking excitement because you can just buy anything.
I
Like,
guess you become like a deviant.
yeah, like money itself doesn't like fill you up anymore. So now you just start doing weird stuff to like adrenaline, basically just get a kick. And it's that's the question to me is like, why do they think that weird shit is exciting?
Right.
Yeah,
So
the Diddy shit's weird. I always, I never really pay it. There's some stories that come out that I don't really care. I'm not saying I don't care to talk about the Diddy stuff. It's a good conversation, but I haven't looked into it too much. I also never really cared about like OJ Simpson. Like I just kind of know some stuff. I've never like watched documentaries and gotten really into it. Uh, one of my buddies just sent me a link to the OJ Bronco, not OJ's actual Bronco, but the same style and color. Somewhere was on sale for like 5 grand, which I thought was kind of crazy that you could buy one of those for like 5 grand.
yeah, not many Broncos, the old style Bronco left. They usually rust from the inside out, and that's why you never really see them anymore.
Yeah, it's a cool car. Even aside from the OJ stuff, the big Bronco's badass.
You ever see they made a Bronco 2 back in the day? It was a mini Bronco. That was cool too. Like a 2-door Bronco or like a miniature version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool looking car. But
So we covered Diddy.
yeah, we
Uh,
covered Diddy having a bunch of money. I was mentioned the Terrifier shit. I don't know. Have you seen both of them? Terrifier 1 and 2?
so I have, but I didn't finish Terrifier 2 because I got kind of bored with it.
Because it's like fucking 7 hours long.
Yeah. So I need to find out. So I'm a big Terrifier fan, like from the beginning. Like I told you, All Hallows Eve was the first before Terrifier. It was Art the Clown. It was the same director, Damien Leone. Um, that was really good. You got to watch that. Very B-rated, very like corny, but like really good. So I like that. I like Terrifier 1. Terrifier 1 was great when he saws the girl in half. Like that shit's brutal. But Terrifier 2, so that guy Damien Leone like apparently ran out of money and was asking people like for donations to make the movie. And he said, if you put $20 in through Venmo, I will put your name in the credits. So I need to see if my name's in the credits because I paid him.
On Terrifier 1?
2.
2. Okay, I'll check that out. My name is in the credits. There's a documentary all about 80s horror and it's a 3-part series. It's called In Search of Darkness, and in part 3, I'm pretty sure it is, my Instagram name, Rob Phantasma, is in there because
That's yeah, that's cool. I figured shit for $20, like it would be cool to have my name permanently on that. And I'm a huge horror fan, but you really got to watch you got to watch All Hallows Eve, especially because it's the whole movie's free on YouTube. But so what did you think about 1 and 2?
So hold on, I'm changing the name of the stream. I like to change it as we go. I got North Carolina Hurricane, Diddy, and Terrifier movies. I liked Terrifier 1. I was fine with it. It's not a fucking classic or a 10 out of 10. First and foremost, I have to say, I don't think Art the Clown is actually like on the same level. People are talking about him like he's the next slasher icon, like he's on the same level as Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. I don't think that's true. I think we're just so desperate for a horror icon that people like instantly saw this guy and latched onto him very quickly and said, "This is our guy. This is our fucking next guy." First of all, I'm not a clown horror guy. I don't really care for the clown bad guys. Captain Spaulding is the only clown I really like, and that's because I don't even really think of Captain Spaulding as a full-on clown. I think it's just more like Sid Haig, and he happens to wear clown makeup sometimes. It's just a dirty Texas motherfucker who puts on clown makeup for his work. So Art the Clown himself is not my favorite. The name is kind of whatever. Just the whole thing is not my favorite. I like Terrifier 1. It was fine. It's certainly nothing like fabulous or spectacular, but I like I think of it as like I like cozy movies, which to me are movies that mostly take place in one setting. So like House of a Thousand Corpses, most of that movie takes place in one house, and because of that, it's kind of like a cozy movie. You're kind of just in one place the whole time. So I like that about Terrifier 1. It's just all in that one building. I like simple horror movies like that. It's just you got some drunk girls coming home from a party. They run into a fucking clown. Shit starts going bad. It gets a little weird to me when they introduce that lady with the baby doll. That's kind of I didn't really care for that stuff, but yeah, I thought Terrifier 1 was fine. A lot of people complain about it. They call it just like violence and gore, just for the sake of violence and gore. I can't complain about that because I watch a lot of completely trash 80s horror movies that are definitely just gore for the sake of gore and violence and shit. So I'm down with all that. Terrifier 2, I didn't like. Dude, it got so carried away. Like
Right.
the first movie was just a killer clown in an abandoned building killing drunk girls. Then all of a sudden we've got this girl in a fucking angel costume and oh Mark, hold on really quick. You'll like this comment. Grimrock.
I see
He
that.
says, yeah.
That's wild, dude. Are you talking about Buffalo Bill? You're talking about the Buffalo Bill house? Because I've always wanted to go there and see that. That is fucking cool. I'm jealous.
Isn't it open to the public? A guy that a YouTube horror movie, or not a horror movie, but a movie YouTuber I like just went there recently and like took some videos and shit. And he like got to stand in the dungeon in the hole in the ground and shit.
Yeah, he was like holding up
But
pictures from he was holding up pictures from the movie in the certain parts of the house. I think if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, that's
yeah,
badass. One of
yeah,
my
it is really cool.
favorite movies of all time, even though I butchered our movie review on it.
Dude, I meant to tell you that review on YouTube has it has one dislike. Someone hit you with a dislike.
There should be more than one. It was horrible.
No, it was fine. Yeah, so Terrifier 2, it gets way too carried away. It just we got a fucking girl in an angel costume and it's like good and evil and they're talking about the girl's dad. I think what's gonna happen is Art the Clown's gonna end up being their dad. It gets way too bloated all in one movie. Oh, really quick, just to reply to a comment, Protomax. I actually hate horror games. When I was dating the ex-girlfriend that I've just now named Calamity Jane, which will remain canon on this show from now on. When I was dating Calamity Jane, she got me the Evil Within for the Xbox 360. And I can't do it because they're just jump scares, but jump scares in a game are different than in a movie because you're controlling the character, so the jump scares like are 10 times more effective. And I remember like apologizing to her. I was like, I really like this. It's cool. I'm glad. Thank you for the birthday. I cannot play this though. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't handle it. But Yeah, that's my main complaint. Terrifier 2, it got way too out of hand, way too fast. Like, it's fucking like I said, it's like 2.5 hours long. It just gets completely bloated.
Yeah,
Some of it's
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when like when, at least for me, when I shut it off halfway, there's something wrong.
yeah, it's just video for Shine. The bridge at the beginning is the video. It's the bridge. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm sure Shine is on your YouTube channel. I will. I'll check that out.
Gotta check that out.
Uh, yeah, it got way too bloated. You could tell. I mean, you could tell what happened. He funded it, so he made like a Kickstarter, GoFundMe, or whatever he made, and I think he got a lot of money. He went way over budget, or the fans gave him because everybody was excited about it. So I think he decided to go really big on it. So and of course the kills are cool. Of course, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's like an 80s trashy throwback to just like violence. But yeah, it just got way too big and there's way too much going on. And I thought the first movie was better. It was just better. It was a simple,
I
easy
agree.
movie.
I agree. When shit starts getting like too complicated, like same thing with video games. Like when video games start getting way too complicated, like how they made Modern Warfare turn into like ridiculous, like laser beam killing fucking, bullshit. Like when you start taking away the simplicity of things, whether it be movies or video games or any kind of entertainment, you start losing a lot of people. So Terrifier 1, so for me, the more fucked up the better. Like scenes, anything that's really twisted, like I love. And I think one of the craziest, most fucked up scenes of Terrifier 1 is when Art dresses in drag and like tucks his dick and like he's coming out of the basement and he's like in heels and shit, like, which was super random, but I just thought that was such a cool, crazy scene. Like, I don't know, I love twisted shit like that. I thought that was great. You definitely, like, I know you said like it's hard for you to watch things that you're recommended, but watch All Hallows Eve and let me know what you think about that.
Yeah, I definitely gotta throw that one on the list. One thing I will say about Terrifier 1 that I actually hated, my least favorite part is just like 3/4 into the movie, when he finally starts to lose, he just pulls out a fucking gun that he's just had
Right,
on him. He's just had a gun the
right.
whole time.
That was stupid.
But other than that, in the weird lady with the baby doll, those are the two things that I didn't really care for in Terrifier 1. Other than that, it was fine. Terrifier 2 just got way too out of hand. I don't think I'm gonna like 3 because the 3 I saw 3 is 2 hours and 5 minutes long. So it's gonna be a big bloated fucking fantastical movie like 2 was. Like I said, I'm gonna go see it because I've got nothing else going on in my fucking life. And anytime I get a slasher movie, I see it. Yeah, I imagine it's just gonna be like 2. It's just gonna be like a whole bunch of like other weird stuff. Chris Jericho is supposed to have a bigger role in it, so that'll be kind of cool to see. I guess he's gonna die for sure. He made a comment about how if you're a Chris Jericho fan, you're not gonna like what happens to him. So I'm excited to see him get torn up. You know who else is gonna be in Terrifier 3 is Grandpa from Rob Zombie's Monsters, who's also been in like all of Rob Zombie's movies. I can't remember.
Roebuck.
Yeah, Daniel Roebuck. He plays Santa Claus, and he's gonna get his face cut off and worn as a necklace from Art the Clown. It looks like.
That's cool. Yeah, he's a pretty decent actor.
Yeah, he was the only good part of the Munsters, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this. Speaking of the Munsters, my dad used to bartend for like celebrity parties and stuff, and he said like one of the coolest people he met was Al Lewis, which is the original Grandpa Munster. He said he was like the most like down to earth cool guy, like didn't even like act like he was famous. So shout out to Al Lewis, who is dead, but yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, the original. I have the Munster series on DVD. It's a great.
It's so good, dude. It will always hold up. It's such an amazing show. And Fred Gwynn, right? That's the guy who played
Yeah.
Herman. Like what a classic role. Like nobody could have did that better.
Dude, it's one of very few things that I watch the original when I'm sitting in my room by myself. I will actually laugh out loud in the episodes where like Herman plays basketball to get Marilyn into school, into college, and then when Herman becomes a professional wrestler. I think the basketball episode is my favorite. What's it like? Something happens to where Marilyn submits like an application to a school or something, and something gets switched up, and they think that she's a basketball player or something. So Herman, like, I don't remember. I think they think it's Herman, and then Herman has to show up and play basketball, and he turns out to be good at basketball, and it's just a great show. It's hilarious.
My favorite Monsters episode, hands down, is the Dragula episode where they make the coffin car, like, which
Yeah.
you also reference, obviously, you know, in House of a Thousand Corpses, when when grandpa's upstairs and he's with Otis and they're watching that episode and he goes, "Put me behind the wheel of that bitch. I'll show him how to drive." It's pretty fucking hilarious. And they're watching the Dragula episode.
Dude, somebody pointed out, and I thought it was true on the internet, Rob Zombie really missed his chance. He should have had, in his Monsters movie, he should have had somebody watching House of a Thousand Corpses on a TV somewhere, and in like a small scene.
Yeah. He just up that whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
He really fucked
I have got a lot of theories. I've got a lot of theories for that movie. I don't think the production went super well, but even storyline wise, yeah, it didn't go so well. He could have written. I think he should have had a comedy writer helping him with it, because
You imagine drunk driving fucking coffin car, dude.
if you crash, you'd be all set already.
Yeah, you'd be just fucking. You just lay down and die.
Did you see that movie Thanksgiving that came out last year?
No, dude, I'll be honest. I have a hard time trying new movies, especially new horror movies. They always let me down. So like I'm very skeptical. So no. Have you?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I'm also very critical about modern day horror. Last year, I really liked Thanksgiving was probably my favorite. I also really liked that movie X with Mia Goth and Jenna Ortega. I have never watched Wednesday and will never watch Wednesday, but anything with Jenna Ortega, I'll probably automatically like. But X was actually a really good movie. Forget the fact that you see Jenna Ortega in her underwear. Has nothing to do with it. It has a lot to do with it. But seriously, it is a really it is a really good movie. But so yeah, X and Thanksgiving have been my two recent like most favorite slashers. And yeah, I'm also very critical about horror movies that are modern day. Eli Roth, they did a really good job. Like the movie has like iPhones in social media, but it somehow they do it really well to where it doesn't really piss you off too bad. They pull it off surprisingly well, and it's really good. It really is like an 80s and early 80s slasher. It's kind of similar to My Bloody Valentine from 1981, which I think is one of the greatest slashers of all time.
Right. I'd say as far as newer horror movies, for me, The Witch was probably the best one. Have you seen that? It's a Robert Eggers.
I haven't.
Yeah, you got to check that out. Come on, what's that?
Did you see that Robert Eggers, I guess, just remade Nosferatu?
Come on. Go ahead. Sorry, I lost.
I think it's Robert Eggers.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying, speaking of Robert Eggers, did you see that he has a remake coming out of Nosferatu?
No, but that sounds fucking sick. And who better to do it than him?
Yeah, he fucking straight up the remake of the 1922 Nosferatu. I think it's coming out soon, actually.
That's going to be interesting because how are they going to recreate a silent movie?
Oh, and you're going to love this. Willem Dafoe is in it.
Oh, dude, love Willem Dafoe. He doesn't play Nosferatu, does he?
He doesn't. He plays Professor Albin Eberhard von Franz. I can't read these fucking names. Bill Skarsgård plays Count Orlok.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to see it. Nosferatu is it's silent movies are hard to watch. I like Nosferatu. It's really good. Proto Max wants to know what kind of dog you have.
He is a Lab Great Pyrenees mix. Big Great Pyrenees Lab mix. He's He's awesome, man. I love animals.
I think I've seen a picture of him before. I forgot
Probably have.
Grimrock.
I post like annoying amounts of pictures of my dog. Like I don't care.
That's what you're supposed to do when you have a dog, though.
Yeah.
Grimrock, I'll pull up the picture either when I'm off here or when I'm distracted on my phone or something. But yeah, the Nosferatu remake should be cool. I think it's cool that they waited. I mean, I'm sure there's been other Nosferatu movies. I don't know, but it's cool that they waited this long to because dude, they remake too many. Like they just came out with that Strangers. The remake of The Strangers came out, and I'm like, dude, The Strangers came out in like 2008. Like, what are we doing remaking a movie from 2008? It's nowhere near enough time.
To answer your question, why are they doing remakes? Is because they're running out of.
I know.
They're running out of creativity, dude. Like these people are just fucking sellouts, and nobody, the greatest directors of our time are fucking dead, and they're like the people that could have. If Stanley Kubrick was still alive, he'd be coming out with original stuff left and right. But
So I don't think it's that. I'll argue back on that one. I don't think it's that their creativity is dead. I think it's that the studios don't want to spend. They don't want to take risks anymore and spend money. There's plenty of creative guys out there that'll write a good script, but the studios are like so stingy that they don't want to spend money on a movie that's not guaranteed to make money. I actually just watched a video on this recently. This trend started with Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and there's one other franchise, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. Those are like the movies that made Hollywood realize like, oh, we can just keep making the same movies over and over again and they'll profit because no matter what, there's a built-in fan base. So Hollywood will only make movies like they're coming out with a fucking Minecraft movie. It's ridiculous. They will only make movies about already existing IP, like intelligent property, because there's a built-in fan base. So now, no matter what, when they put out the Minecraft movie, Minecraft fans will go see it. Like at the very least, they're guaranteed to get Minecraft fans in the theater. So it's like a guaranteed way to make money. So now nobody will make a movie, which is why I liked movies like I saw Thanksgiving last year, because that was a totally new, Eli Roth directed it and he's a well-known horror director, but it was still based on like a new character, new stories. So I try to spend money on shit like that so that, they say you're supposed to like support this shit when they finally do new stuff. But yeah, every movie now is just like a remake or not a remake, but something based off the characters and like whatever. But they don't want to spend money on anything new or like risky. And then the funny thing about that is that Hollywood is also going through another phase at the same time where everything has to be like overly like social commentary and political, which I don't have a problem with social commentary and politics in movies. That's been happening since forever. Like I always talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre as like packed full of fucking social commentary, but it's like they're doing it backwards. They're focusing on the social commentary first and then the art. Like the person that sat down to write Barbie sat down and said, I want to write a fucking feminist movie about, like, they didn't sit down and say, I want to write a good Barbie movie. They sat down and said, I want to write a feminist movie. Oh, and then I'll slap some Barbie in it, once I'm done writing the stuff that I like. That's completely backwards. You should be saying, I want to write a good Barbie movie. And then if the message of feminism is truly on your mind and like on your heart, as cheesy as that sounds, it will naturally bleed into the story. But doing it the other way around, it just starts beating people over the head. So Hollywood is not only taking all the past characters that people are already like used to, but now they're like stuffing all the social commentary into them. So now you get stuff like, like the Barbie movie, dude. I'll be talking about the Barbie movie until the day I die because that movie pissed me off so bad. I was like kind of excited for it. I kind of thought I knew what I was getting into, but it could have been, it could have been cool. I thought it was going to be just like Toy Story. That's what I thought. I thought it'd be like a cool little like fucking Toy Story type movie. And no, we got a movie that said the word patriarchy like fucking 42 times within 2 hours, and it was just annoying. Yeah, I don't think it's that there's no creativity in the world. I think it's just that Hollywood won't give creative people money because they're just, they're so stingy now. It's like, why spend $5 million on a movie just to make $10 million when we could spend $5 million on a movie and make $50 million and get a bunch of shitty reviews because nobody actually likes it?
Well, first off, a fucking movie about Barbie shouldn't be political about feminism or any fucking thing like that.
Yeah, I think I think it could have been like in the same way that I'll always reference like okay, I need to quit referencing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In the same way, I'll say Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead from 1978. I think it's 78 or 79. Also has a great like a perfect amount of social commentary. And Barbie could have done it like that. It could have been a cool movie about dude, a movie about like badass women fighting a patriarchy, like just that at its core. To me sounds like a women in prison movie from the 70s, which like The Big Birdcage with Sid Haig and what's the girl's name? Hold on, The Big Bird. I'm gonna feel stupid for not knowing her name. Pam Grier. The Big Birdcage with Sid Haig and Pam Grier. All those women in prison movies from the 70s are literally about women fighting a patriarchy. Like that by itself can be a really cool concept, but they don't constantly talk about fighting a patriarchy throughout the entire course of the movie. I thought what it was going to be when I saw that it was going to be about like Barbie and she goes to the Mattel studio is that Mattel was going to be like the representation for some kind of patriarchy. I didn't think they were going to say it 70,000 times in the fucking movie and make sure that everybody knows. But and at the same time, you are also right because it's funny how Barbie, like back in the day, like feminists hated Barbie because Barbie was like too pretty and like unrealistic, and now all of a sudden she's like a feminist icon. Like,
Yeah, fuck everything about making a movie for kids political. Period.
that part is true. That part is true. If you're gonna make a kids movie, know your lane.
You remember, like, I don't know, like I remember going to see like the Pokemon movie when I was a kid. They weren't like, oh, Pokemon is Republican and fucking, yeah, I don't know, Ash Ketchum is fucking masculine male. Like, shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
what have we become to where a fucking Barbie movie is like about that, about gender, sex, and fucking feminism? Fuck that, dude. This is a problem with our country. The problem with our country is the Barbie movie.
it is true. I think like Toy Story and the original Pokemon movie, they were generally just about like loving your friends and like being a good person and like being, like yeah,
Fuck
yeah. The original Pokemon movies were awesome. I think about like Pikachu. What's
that.
the one where Ash turns to stone? And yeah, they're basically just about shit like friendship. Just like, oh yeah, these are my friends. I'm good to my friends because I love my friends. That's the moral of the movie. It's a cool little kids movie, stuff like that, and it's timeless because of course that's always Barbie's gonna age. Well, I don't believe in art aging. I think we age around art. I actually hate the concept of like, oh, this aged poorly. Art doesn't age. That's the cool thing about art. It's always in the same place but we
Right.
age around it. But we are going to age poorly around Barbie at some point, like 50 years from now, when women are extinct and men are the only people here because boys rule and girls drool. That's how it's going to go. Barbie's gonna, it's gonna look pretty bad then.
So I'm gonna really digress like away from the Barbie thing because it's actually like upsetting me.
Yeah, hell
But
yeah.
I think I've asked you, did you see Jacob's Ladder, old school movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
You really need to watch it. That's a movie I would love to pick your brain on and hear you talk about what you thought about it. It's hard to explain. It's a dude that's I don't even want to give it away. You're gonna have to watch it yourself because like if I explain it to you, it'll give away the ending, if that makes sense.
Is it the movie from 1990?
Yes.
Okay.
Such a fucked up movie. I don't know if anybody here in the comments has watched that movie. I guess you'd consider it a horror movie for sure. This is going to sound funny to say, but you can't even say the plot without, if you want to read it from Wikipedia, they won't give it away. If I explain it myself, it'll give away the entire fucking movie. You really should watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta check it out. Wikipedia calls it a psychological horror film.
Yeah. Dude,
Okay.
it's
I'd always heard of it. I, for some reason, thought it was a 70s movie. I didn't realize it came out in 1990.
yeah, and I forget that actor. So I'm almost positive Macaulay Culkin plays his dead son.
Yeah, he is in it. Macaulay Culkin, Tim Robbins, Elizabeth Pena, Danny Aiello, Matt Craven. There's a list. Jason Alexander's in it, which is cool.
Can you read, if you don't mind, read what it says for the plot?
Yeah, let me Let me pull this up. All right, here we go. I got an assignment. So on October 6, 1971, American infantryman Jacob Singer is with the 1st Air Cavalry Division deployed in a village in Vietnam's Mekong Delta when his close-knit unit comes under sudden attack. As many of Jacob's comrades, God, I can't read, as many of Jacob's comrades are killed or wounded, others exhibit abnormal behavior, with some suffering catatonia, convulsions, and seizures. Jacob flees into the jungle only to be stabbed with a bayonet by an unseen assailant. Jacob awakens in the New York subway, where after glimpsing what he believes to be a tentacle protruding from a sleeping homeless person, an inexplicably locked subway station results. Oh man, I'm losing this all over the place.
Yeah, you don't gotta read the rest of it because it's one of those movies that you gotta watch you basically. I had to look up so much after it, but dude, it's probably a top 10 for me. Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like those movies. I always do that. Whenever I watch a movie that I like, I go to Wikipedia, I look at shit, and then I start watching like interviews with like I get way to it. Like I'm up all night when I see a movie that I like.
Yeah, that'll be one of those movies. So if talking about movies that you have to look up to see like what the ending meant, did you ever see the movie Mother with Javier Bardem?
No, the only Javier Bardem movie I've seen is No Country for Old Men.
That's a fucking weird movie. It's forget the other famous girl actor that's in it. That's a movie where I didn't understand, but I liked it, if that makes sense.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Like I I didn't even understand it, but I liked it, if that makes sense. It was like really fucked up.
I'll have to check that out. You know what else is just the cover, the artwork of Mother makes me think of. There's a movie that I really like called shit, what's it called? Melancholia. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I have not.
Melancholia from 2011 has Kirsten Dunst in it, and Kirsten Dunst is to me kind of a goofball now that she complained about not getting paid as much as Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movie. But
Right.
you know, Hollywood's going to do what Hollywood does. But yeah, 2011, Kirsten Dunst. It's a super weird movie about Kirsten Dunst plays this woman who's like terribly depressed, like depression to the point of like doing weird shit. I guess I won't spoil too much. I don't know, but she just does a bunch of weird shit. She's kind of a terrible person, but you almost feel sorry for her. Okay, maybe you don't, because she's like, I don't want to say she's like a fucking drama queen, but she just does shit that makes her family kind of miserable because she's so miserable. And her sister takes care of her. And while all this is going on, a meteor is like headed to Earth. It's called like a rogue planet, and they've named it Melancholia. And this woman feels like some connection with the planet, and the planet hits Earth, and everybody dies. It's a weird movie, but it's one of those cool, like, you can start looking stuff up after you watch it because it's just like, what the fuck did I just watch?
What is it called?
Melancholia. So it's just melancholy, but then instead of a Y at the end, it's IA.
Right. I'll have to. We always say we'll have to look into it, but one day we'll have to like make a list for each other and actually like watch the fucking movie.
It's Lars von Trier directed it, and I know he's kind of a fucking weirdo. He also made that movie with Willem Dafoe where he like cuts his dick off or something.
Never seen that. Love Willem Dafoe though. I think he's one of the best actors of all time.
Antichrist. The movie Antichrist from 2009. It's a horror art film by Lars von Trier. Yeah, Willem Dafoe, like something happens, like he gets his dick cut off or super bizarre. It's like really hard to watch. He also made a movie called Nymphomaniac with Mia Goth, where the movie is about a fucking nymphomaniac. Lars von Trier is one of those weird guys that just anything he makes is going to be a weird thing to watch.
Right. Did you see another Robert Eggers with Willem Dafoe? It's called The Lighthouse. I think I brought it up to you.
I haven't, but yeah, you've mentioned that one before.
Fucking A, man. You got to watch that. It's a good one.
I do have to check that out because it made me think of a movie called Ennis, Maine that I really like because it also has not a lighthouse, but an island in the middle of the ocean, kind of.
Yeah, because that movie is like, shows you kind of like the sobering truth of like, your mind going crazy on you, and you're like, it shows the kind of like the power of the human mind when you go crazy. And that's I could actually
compare the craziness to like Joker in a way, even though they're totally different movies. Like two people just going completely insane. Speaking of Joker, what do you think about the trailer for Joker 2?
Oh no. Real quick, yeah, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is like one of the coolest bad guys.
Classic role, dude.
Yeah, he played that so much better than like it had any right to be played.
Oh fuck yeah.
The new Joker, I said I was going to see it this weekend. I'm still not entirely decided. I really might wait until I can just stream it illegally on my phone. I really liked the first one, but the second one, I've heard some really bad things about it so far from some YouTubers that I watch. I'm really curious about it. It's just, from what I understand, it's just kind of like a mess of shit.
Right. I would say the first one is a 10 out of 10 movie for me. And it's funny because I don't like superhero movies or anything like that. The Dark Knight and that, dude, fucking Joker was a 10 out of 10. Well, Joaquin Phoenix, another phenomenal actor. I love that movie so fucking much. I really did. And I'm excited for the second one, but I hate Lady Gaga. I fucking hate her, dude.
Yeah, I really hate superhero movies too. I also really like the Dark Knight trilogy though, and I also really like Joker. The last Batman movie, Proto Max, I actually own it and I put it on one night, but I fell asleep, so I haven't actually been able to watch it. My buddy Dakota is really into movies and like writes scripts and stuff. He says it's like the greatest Batman movie ever, or something along those lines. He's praised it. So I do need to watch it at some point. I have it right here on my shelf. Yeah, I love Joaquin Phoenix. I loved him. Honestly, my favorite is Walk the Line. I love him as fucking Johnny Cash.
Right. Great role. Did you see him in We Own the Night?
No.
That's a great movie. Fuck. Eva Mendes, him, Mark Wahlberg, Robert Duvall. I mean, total amazing cast. You got to check that one out too.
Okay, crime thriller. Yeah, this looks interesting. You know, another weird one is, since we're just throwing movies literally back and forth. Have you heard of Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Great movie, dude. I loved that movie.
That's one of those cool little random movies that we'll never get nowadays. That's the stuff that doesn't get made anymore, because that's just literally just a random fucking movie that's not based on a existing character. You know what I mean? Like, it's just somebody wrote a script. It was really cool. They made it. But nowadays we would never get a movie like Nightcrawler.
That guy reminds me of the Idaho murder guy. The guy that the Nightcrawler dude, like Jake Gyllenhaal, his role reminded me of that Idaho murder guy with the fucking eyebrow.
Oh, Brian Koberger. Yeah.
Oh, why?
That is true. They do look kind of similar.
Dude, and mannerisms. Dude, I love when he blackmails the lady.
Yeah.
He blackmails her to fuck her. That's crazy, dude. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy. I love that movie. I saw it with Calamity Jane actually when it came out in theaters.
I love the name Calamity Jane, by the way.
Yeah, that is a canon character. The worst part about dating a girl for 5 years is that no matter how much you don't want to talk about her, you were with her for 5 fucking years. So like a lot of your stories are gonna involve that person. So I had to name her.
Do you think any of your ex-girlfriends watch this?
Oh no, not at all.
I would trade my ex-girlfriend to hang out with Justin Bieber or whatever the fuck you said.
Dude, yeah, no, there's no way any of my ex-girlfriends would watch this. Once I've already said if I ever get 10,000 subscribers, I will start naming ex-girlfriends like first and last name. I don't give a fuck anymore. But when you only have like 104 up to 144, it seems too desperate to just start like naming ex-girlfriends. So I need to get into a position of power where I'm the man and I've got 10K. Because back in the day when I used to play shows, all my ex-girlfriends would come to my shows. So once I'm the man and they're all coming to my YouTube streams, then I'll start naming them.
Once you get,
yeah, so sorry, what?
Once you get the Diddy status, you could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Protomax Nightcrawler is about this guy who he becomes like he starts like filming crime scenes. He basically starts making videos or like getting live footage for news stations. So he'll go around, he crawls around in the night and follows like, like tragic shit, like car accidents and robberies and murders. And he gets footage with a camera and he sells them to a news station, and he becomes really good at it to the point where he starts doing illegal shit. But then, yeah, he's talking to like the manager or the boss of a news station, and he's like, basically, I'll stop bringing you footage if you don't fuck me. Like, it's a pretty cool movie.
Dude, the way he goes about it, he's like, you know what I want. We have something we each want. I will give you the footage you want, but you must have sex with me. You must do it at this frequency, and you must do it as much as I want. Like, dude, he's so fucking ruthless. Like,
yeah, but he also presents like he just seems like a nice guy at the same time. Like he's not rude. He's just saying it.
Yeah, yeah. Is it okay to hear me? I'm in this echoey ass room in the back of my fucking house.
Yeah, I've been hearing you just fine actually lately.
Dude, I literally have the phone like in the screen on my window, and I'm like leaned into it like a fucking weirdo. Like, there's no blinds in this room. People are probably like, what is he fucking doing?
Oh, that's hilarious. Dude, it's
we check it out, Proto Max.
Yeah, it's a good movie. And then I definitely got to assert the dominance with the 10K. The 10K follows. I know 10K is just like I don't want to say the most realistic goal because it's not even realistic at this point, but it's more realistic than if I would start talking about having like 1 million followers or some shit.
But, I don't know. Seems like our fucking random streams have been doing pretty good lately. Like, we're just bullshitting.
Every time we've been streaming, we gain like at least two or three subs.
That's good. That's pretty good.
So if we could, obviously we're not going to stream every night. I should be streaming every night realistically while I've had this time off in between jobs. But I literally, like I said, it sounds like the worst fucking excuse. I just haven't been because it's too hot in my room. In the wintertime, I really plan on streaming. Like I'm hoping to at least like 3 or 4 nights a week. And especially since I'll have that job where I'm off Tuesday through Friday, I'll have no excuse not to.
Right. No,
and then I'll get off work even on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 5 p.m. So once it's cold and I can wear a hoodie and I'm not sweating on stream all day, then I plan to do more.
I'm definitely looking forward to the Halloween stream with the judge wig. I'm definitely going to order that.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll probably end up just doing the mask. I might have one other idea instead of just doing the skull mask that I've already made into the mascot of this channel. So I might just do that since the skull mask is already everywhere. Grimrock, I'm still trying to get to 500 on here. My X is nearly 4,500. Oh, man. Okay, so your Twitter's popping. I just deleted my Twitter the other day, but it was only a personal Twitter. It wasn't like I was trying to build it up. Facebook had 3,400, but this Instagram I struggle on. Instagram at one time, the original Disco Acid Cole Instagram, actually right now is at literally like 9,003 followers. It's finally about to drop to below 9K. But that was that wasn't my stuff. That was all like Charles Manson interviews and stuff that people were into. So I still have a ways to go with the new Instagram. The YouTube channel, I'm still at 144. I think it's possible to get subscribers, obviously. Like if there's like a couple of people that if they can do it, I think anybody can do it. My buddy that I had on that Saturday, Dirty White Boy 118, he's at a little over 4,000 subscribers. And he was like, I got a check in the mail every month from YouTube. It's obviously not for like tens of thousands of dollars or anything, but I'm like, dude, if YouTube sent me a check for like $100 every month, I'd be fucking hyped on that.
Yeah, for sure. It's fucking cool as hell to begin with. I think it's cool when people get the plaques for it too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's you get the first one at 100K, which is all I'd ever really want. Once I got that, I'd hang it up and be like, I would if I hit 1 million, of course that'd be cool. But if I got the first plaque, that'd be like, I would like not only be naming ex-girlfriends on streams, I'd be like naming the positions we were in while having sex and stuff. Like, I'd be going wild if I had a plaque behind me. So it's probably for the best that I don't have a plaque behind me. Oh, Grimrock. Okay, so Facebook Pay. I didn't even know Facebook pays people. What do you? You don't have to name the exact, but like, what are you? Like around what are you pulling? Are you pulling enough to not work a day job, or are you pulling like some recreational money? Anyone can do it. It's got to get lucky with the algorithm, and you could get some momentum. Yeah, it pretty much just seems like a getting lucky game. My buddy, again from last Saturday, one of his shorts has over 1 million views, and that was like his big lucky thing was that that short hit over 1 million. One of my buddies, MJ, he runs an Instagram called Drunk in Japan, and it's all I think it's like 300,000 followers at this point. It's like a brand. Like again, Dirty White Boy 118, who was on Saturday, he was telling me that our buddy MJ, the Drunk in Japan guy, he sponsored his car for one of his races, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll use it as a tax write-off." So he's like making enough money on the internet that he's like doing tax write-offs and shit. Like that's his living now. And all he does is like he like wanders or not wanders, but he goes around Japan partying. I mean, it's literally called Drunk in Japan. Like he just parties in fucking Japan. Like, people follow his shit. Performance bonuses, ads on real subscription, stars, all get paid for on there, recreational for now, but I've been doing pretty, yeah, right on, that's badass. That's cool. I didn't even know Facebook paid people.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That is really cool. I didn't make a Facebook for this page for a very short time. I'm trying to focus the most on YouTube and Instagram. I have an ad right now on Instagram that I put like fucking $10 into. If I really had the money, I'd put a shit ton of money into Instagram, like ads. I've never.
Yeah, that's how I find a lot of good, like, when I look up like surrealism art and like it'll send me like suggestions people sponsor on there.
Yeah. A lot of there's a couple of bands I found from like Facebook ads and Instagram ads that I actually really like. My buddy has 80K on TikTok, and sometimes his videos get 5 million, and then under 2K. Yeah, the inconsistency is annoying. And then what also is annoying to me on especially TikTok is that everybody will like your posts. People will like your shit, but they won't follow your like it's impossible to get people to follow your shit.
We need to get somebody who has a lot of followers to come on here and then promote us on their page.
Yeah, that's hard to do though, because I think it's kind of obvious that it's like you're doing us a favor, basically.
Fucking Andy Dick. What happened to him?
Andy Dick wouldn't pull us that much. At the most, that'd pull us like 100 subscribers.
Yeah, you're right, because I was surprised how low of a follower count he had.
Yeah. I mean, I would take it. I would love to talk to him and have 100 more subscribers, but it's, that wouldn't be like our big break or anything. I think just got to keep going at it. Like I said, every Wednesday chat seems to get more and more like engagement. I think we're probably in like YouTube. I'm not saying we're hitting the algorithm, but I think YouTube realizes that we stream every Wednesday, so they kind of maybe push it a little bit more. But
yeah, it's fun. I enjoy doing it. Like obviously it's recreational. We have some pretty good conversations, and having a female on helps for sure.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get a girl that's down to sit in one of the screens just in her underwear and just sit there and not fucking talk ever.
Yeah.
So if I ever find a girl who's down for that and you guys see a fourth screen pop up and it's just a girl in her underwear, that will be me.
Yeah. But, sex sells.
Yeah. And I think it'd be funny because I'd imagine we'd get a lot of hate comments from girls being like, "You're just using her for her body." Like, yes, I am.
Get disco in the algorithm.
Oh, we were just talking about you, man. I was telling everybody that you get paid by YouTube. We were just talking about like doing numbers and shit. Our buddy up here at Grimrock is saying he gets paid by Facebook, which we didn't even know Facebook pays people for engagement. Dirty White Boy 118. I know you would love this idea. I have this idea. Of course, finding the girl would be hard. I was just telling everybody I would like to get a girl from wherever and get a screen. Get her on camera just in her underwear, but she doesn't ever say a fucking word. She just sits there in her underwear on screen the entire time we're streaming. And that would be that. That would be her job. Female does help. My best music video as a goth chicken at 900 views. Highest view for one. Again, Calamity Jane. I got Calamity Jane into wrestling in the time that we were together. And one of my big ideas that we never got to do because we were too busy doing drugs was that I wanted to start a podcast about professional wrestling because there's no professional wrestling podcast with a hot girl. So I thought that'd be like a big selling thing was like, get a girl talking about wrestling and people will like it. Gotta get a bitch asking ass to keep people's attention. Shaking ass. Okay, okay. I was gonna say, what do you mean? What do you mean asking X or asking ass? That's a hard thing to say. But yeah, no. Just a girl sitting in her underwear. She doesn't got to do anything. It makes me think of that. I can't remember the name of it. There's a show that I've seen a couple times. They just have a girl sitting there. She's not in her underwear, but she just sits there. But I would need the girl to be in her underwear for professional reasons, of course.
Yeah.
And I would pay her the same. Like I said, if we ever get paid.
Couple shekels. Should we get a couple shekels?
Yeah. A couple shekels. Maybe I'll give her a knuckle sandwich once in a while if she's hungry.
Keep her in line. Yeah, I like flick. All right, it's payday, bitch. And then you flip a fucking coin. Like, don't spend it all on some fucking radio, some fancy radio. I don't know, some weird shit. Like, like fucking. Be like, what the fuck is this? This is a 50-cent piece.
It would have to be an OnlyFans girl, so that we could cross promote. If you start getting lots of views, I can guarantee getting a chick to sit in her underwear won't be hard to find. It's true, because then she could promote her OnlyFans on the show, and then she could promote us on the OnlyFans. It would have to be like a crossover. No top, just the tape X's. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. The tape X's, like the black tape, the girls. That would be a good idea too. Don't go buying any clothes. Yeah, don't go buying any clothes with this money that I'm paying, with this couple shekels I'm giving you.
Yeah. Don't be buying any clothing now.
Yeah, the X's would be a good idea. I would let her pick her own clothes. Her bra. You could pick whatever bra you're wearing. I don't care.
I love how deep you're getting into this like fantasy.
Dude, I've thought about all this stuff. I've been thinking about what I want to do. I've got a huge extravagant idea that is like way off in Fantasyland. What I originally wanted to do with Disco Acid Cult TV, the reason I call it TV is because my idea for it was that it's a YouTube channel and it's basically like a channel on cable TV. So I want to, like, once I get big, I want to recruit other like small creators, and like Monday at 4 p.m. these kids stream this show. Tuesday at 5 p.m. these motherfuckers stream this show. You know what I mean? It could be a whole entire cable channel, but it's just the home base is the YouTube channel.
Right.
So that's why I'd always thought to call it something TV, because it's be like the whole thing. Hands over 5 shekels. I say get yourself something nice, not expensive. Oh man. But yeah, no, yeah, I've thought about all this way too much. That's kind of like my specialty, is like even when I was in a band, it was always like I had shit like planned out. I just never like stuck with anything, or nothing ever stuck for me, either or.
Oh my god, this is funny.
It'd be cool to get like I don't know. I was gonna say it'd be cool to get some kind of show on the channel where they do something to do with music. I'm still torn on like, obviously I have not, like, I don't know. I don't want to, as far as what we do on here, I never really want to stick to one thing. That's why I'm always like, I don't want to be like a true crime channel. I also don't want to be a horror movie channel. Like, I just want to do a bunch of stuff, which I know is a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. What I'm doing is the absolute worst. If we did one thing, we'd probably have more subscribers by now, because then you specialize in that subject. Right now, we're literally just nobody's talking about a bunch of random shit. But of course, I want to do things like the complicated way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a both sides of the coin. Like, yeah, we bullshit, and it's a variety thing, which makes no sense. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess some people enjoy that. But like, on the other hand, yeah, I feel like we should stick to some kind of genre once in a while.
I like Saturday being movie night.
Right.
So I think so far that's it good. Like, Saturday is movie night. Maybe again, once I start streaming more, I don't know, maybe we could do like a true crime night or some shit. We could schedule stuff around your week off blocks. Like, we could do like 2 or 3 streams on your week off whenever you have one of those. Yeah, I know all the topics that I'm into, but I never want to do one. We should do a night where I don't know really how to work in, like, I'd like to talk about like music, but I'm talking like We just talk about like 60s and 70s and 80s rock and roll, but you can't play music on YouTube, or you can. You just have to hope you don't get think about all the stupid shit they talk about on Joe Rogan. And millions of
Right.
views listen to him. Yeah, but he actually has like interesting like people. As much stupid stuff as they talk about, there are people on there that are they have something to say.
Joe Rogan's old podcasts were horrible, dude. I don't know if you listened to him when he first came out. They were fucking bad, dude. Like, they were bad. They weren't even funny, and they weren't even good.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time. You also, no matter what you think of him, you can't deny he is good at carrying a conversation. Like in a lot of places where most people would go silent and it'd get awkward, like he knows how to just keep pushing forward and like bring something up.
For sure.
I think yeah, it'd be cool to talk about like old rock and roll. It sucks that you can't play music. It's funny because on this channel there's a couple songs. If you go back in the videos tab, me and Calamity Jane actually that was the music that we were doing together. And those songs are copyright struck because I copywrote our music years ago and I've forgotten the passwords and information to all our copyright. So my songs are copyright struck against me. I'm like, dude, I'm the guy in the picture. Like, these are my songs, but nope, they're copyright struck.
Yeah, and he got high with Elon Musk.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't think Elon did. He didn't even inhale, right? It looked like he.
Apparently, he got high, but he said he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, some Joe Rogan episodes are cool. That's how I discovered. I mean, I don't care for Tom O'Neill now, but that's how I discovered Tom O'Neill and the whole Chaos Manson theory.
You know what sucks is if I was still friends with this dude back in New Jersey, I could have totally got. I don't know if you remember like early Misfits, like Bobby Steele was one of the members of the Misfits. Like I met him multiple times. Like he would have totally came on here. Like he's the most down to earth guy. Like would have no problem, even though we're nobodies.
Yeah.
But punching that friend in the face, and obviously we don't talk anymore. I always think of that. I'm like, man, it would have been cool to have an actual member of the Misfits, like, you know, a legitimate band come on here.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. It would be cool to get people from bands on here. That I could talk about that stuff all day if we had like some guys from bands coming in.
Fucking A.
There's a dude who messaged me. Not that this guy's like a huge, actually on our Instagram. I got a random message from, let me see. A guy who literally just said, I want you to check out a song I just released recently. And I was like, okay, fuck it. Yeah. And then he sent me a link, and then I saw him send me a second message, and he said, let me know if you don't use Spotify, which I don't. So I have to message him back and say, I don't use Spotify, but I haven't opened his message yet. Grimrock, I just pulled up your picture. Yeah, fucking A. This is our boy Grimrock at the Silence of the Lambs house.
Huh.
Let me see if I can
I was just say, pull it up on the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Instagram pulled up on Grimrock. I think you're more legit than we are. You've got more going on than we do. Let me see.
Yeah, you have an actual talent and skill.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. It's actually kind of cropped a little bit too, so it's mostly the house.
Oh yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, obviously, it is just the house. It is the house, but I mean, like, it looks just like there's no mistaking it if you've seen the movie.
It puts the lotion in the basket. Put the fucking the basket.
Dude, that guy. I like Buffalo Bill. He's I like him out of the two villains. They're both great villains, but Buffalo Bill I think is the real main antagonist.
Have won Best Supporting Actor, but he didn't.
Dude, you know what we need to do is I don't know. I'm always tempted to just start shooting messages to people that I want to have on and see how it goes. But
yeah, what's the worst I could say? No.
You know, I thought that, and then I learned in like 2021, 2020, the worst they can do is actually they can leave you on red. That is actually the worst scenario.
Right. Yeah, but yeah.
I know.
I'm used to left on red on Tinder, so it's
No, I was totally kidding. I was making a joke about a girl leaving me on red like a couple years ago. Yeah, I don't know who I'd want to have on. I know I want to have on like OnlyFans girls and strippers just because that'd be hilarious. I think I've always been saying I think it'd be funny to have like those kinds of girls on and then just ask them shit like, "Oh, do you like the Beatles? Like, what's your favorite '80s movie?"
Was she a great big fat person? Oh wait, I think I heard of her on the radio. Was she a great big fat person?
It's a great voice. He does a great job. I love the way he like goofily throws the
Yeah,
cards over his head and like runs off.
yeah. He goes, sure, you could use my phone. He's got the fucking 44 Python under the Nazi quilt. It's fucking badass.
Dude, they really don't put Nazi stuff in movies anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about in the '80s, like they made a lot of like '70s and '80s. There was a lot of movies where like Nazis would be the bad guys, or like guys that were like into that stuff were the bad guys, and they don't even do that stuff anymore. I'd probably get you the guy from the Horror of It All podcast. I have to check out that podcast. I'm curious now. I like a good horror movie podcast. The thing, my problem with the reason I didn't want to do just a horror movie show is that it's like everybody and their mom has a horror movie podcast. You know, don't get me wrong, I like the ones that I like, but it's and same with true crime. And the thing is, I have to realize that our quality, there are people with like quality that is 10 times better than ours, and they will never reach 10,000 subscribers. That's my main point, is that for the standards of the world today, we are a pretty shitty quality show. So really what we're trying to sell is like us as people. Like we hope that people like want to fucking sit and hang out and chat like so badly, even though we've got shitty quality generally. When you've got people with like those like Shure SM7B microphones that are like however many $100 and XLR. I don't even use a fucking XLR mic. I've got a fucking USB mic, and my background is a fucking porn star on a shirt in my closet door in a window with a black screen over it. So it's I have to understand that our quality is shit, and I'm trying to convince people to subscribe to this shit. So
I think you're definitely gonna dig the setup I have when I ever get off my ass and fucking finish it. It's gonna be cool. It's definitely gonna look more legit than my fucking living room Easy Rider poster.
the Easy Rider poster is badass though.
Thank you.
It is a good poster. I do need to get some kind of Easy Rider collectible. I've got a collection. Eventually one downstream I should go over. It would like concern you guys if I opened this closet and showed you like how many shirts I have with like horror movie characters, all the movies that are right here to the right of me that nobody can see, that I like collected all in like 1 or 2 years. It's a lot. It's very excessive.
That's sick. I love I used to go when Hot Topic was cool, like you go there and get like horror movie t-shirts and shit, you know.
Yeah. I've even got I spent like $200 on a Rob Zombie sweater from like the early 2000s. It's all faded and peeling, but it's Sherry Moon. It's like a Living Dead girl sweater. It's like Sherry Moon in her fucking bikini, and it's got, you know, it looks like it's a Rob Zombie sweatshirt. You pretty much know exactly what it looks like. But it is vintage by today's standards, I think.
I like the Living Dead girl video. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, Sherry was a total babe.
He's got like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing, where he's like around. It's pretty cool.
Have you seen that movie? It's the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
No, never heard of it.
A lot of people consider it the first horror movie. It's a silent film. I think it's German. Let me look it up. I've watched it. It's pretty cool. 1920 exactly. Yeah, German. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. That's what that video is. Like you'll watch the movie and it's literally that's where Rob Zombie got it from.
Oh, okay. You know, another Rob Zombie video I loved was the Red Groovy. The
the Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, Clockwork Orange. That was cool. And Feel So Numb, that was cool with all the black lights and shit.
Yeah, he's really good at visuals.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Before he even made movies, he made really great music videos.
Yeah, no, everything he does looks cool. I always say that like 50% of the reason he's famous is because he's just cool. Because he's a terrible singer. There's no denying.
Right.
You watch him live, terrible singer, but he's just so fucking cool. You never see him. Anytime you see a picture or video of him, you never don't think, oh, I wish I had those pants, or oh, I wish I had that shirt, or his fucking hair looks like he just always looks fucking cool. And I think like, you know, like MTV and record labels are just like, dude, this guy looks, we got to put this guy on some shit. He just looks cool. We can't turn him down.
Have you ever seen the MTV Cribs for him?
Yeah, it's
Really,
hilarious.
he has a pirate bar and shit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, he's just into cool stuff. He's got all his like monsters, his monsters
Yeah,
collection.
he's a cool dude, man, for sure.
It's oh, this sounds badass. A vintage Marilyn Manson shirt from the early 2000s.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
it's a good era. People call it shock rock. I know like Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson. I don't really like that term. I like shock jock for Howard Stern. Um, but it was a cool era. It's crazy that I don't think we'll ever get like Marilyn Manson's or Rob Zombie's ever again because
No,
there's nothing shocking left to do. Like once you know, like Marilyn Manson in a thong on stage, like
right.
now that guys wear thongs on a regular basis, like it's just not, you know, it's not shocking anymore, and it's kind of a bummer. I wish we could like have a hard reset on the world and go back to like make Marilyn Manson scary again, because now like the real world is actually 2 times scarier than Marilyn Manson ever was back in the day.
Did you ever see the music video? Another great music video creator, Marilyn Manson. Did you see the video Long Hard Road Through Hell? That's a great music video. Like he dresses up like a total, like he looks like a woman
Yeah,
and played out. Like that's a really cool video, dude.
I think you'll like this. I think Dirty White Boy 118. You just saw Marilyn Manson, didn't you? I think I saw posts of you seeing Marilyn Manson. He's surprisingly still a really good singer. He just put out a new song. And
I just don't like seeing him get old. It bothers me. It makes me
yeah, he is one of those guys that it bums me out to see him get old. There's some characters that you know what I think is really smart about Rob Zombie is that he's always like, you know, back in the day he always had like he always put like baby powder in his hair to make it like gray and white. So now that he's actually gray and older, it doesn't really look all that shocking because he's always been doing weird stuff like putting gray in his hair and like kind of dressing like an old decrepit, you know, creepy guy sometimes. But yeah, Marilyn Manson getting old, that one, it's a bummer. I like to think of him as a young. The Dope Show era is one of my favorite. The video of him performing the Dope Show at the MTV Video Awards is like one of my favorite live performances of all time. I always forget that John Five played guitar for Marilyn Manson for the late 90s and early 2000s.
yeah.
Which,
Oh.
yeah, no, Marilyn Manson ruled. I didn't get into him until way later too, because when I was in middle school, that's when like the Eat Me Drink Me album came out, and I just like wasn't too into it. But then later on in life, I went back and was like, oh, this stuff's really cool. And now that I'm like the age I am, I love going back and watching all those like trashy daytime talk show appearances. And he was on, I know he was on, I think he was on Phil Donahue. They were talking about moshing, which is a all-time video. And Phil Donahue does an impression of kids moshing, like in a mosh pit. Yeah. He's sober now. Yeah, he sounds good. It's crazy because his first album, he's talked about it. New album coming out in November, like 12. Okay, yeah, that's badass. I've been hoping he comes back because he's gotten better at singing. His first album, he talked about how he didn't know how to sing. He was a bad singer. That's why their first stuff was like so obscure and weird, so that he didn't have to sing, and he just kind of did the raspy, creepy voice. But then as time went on, he took singing lessons and actually got better at singing. And
You're talking about Marilyn Manson?
yeah.
Did you ever see I love the behind the music documentaries. Did you
Oh, I
see
love those.
did you see the one on him?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Dude, you gotta watch it, dude. And how they wrapped it up was they interviewed his teachers, and his name was Brian Werner. You know what I mean? He was this nerd. And they're like,
at the end of the video, they said, we don't know what happened to Brian Werner, and we don't think we'll ever see him come back, because like he embodied Marilyn Manson as his like being. Like, a lot of people like that's their persona, but like no, he fucking became Marilyn Manson from being this dude, this young nerdy kid with acne, to this fucking Jesus Christ superstar.
The Seekers are I can't talk. Sick as Your Secrets Within. That's the one that I like. That's the one that when I caught that one, I was like, oh, like shit, this guy can still sing like really well, surprisingly. So yeah, it is really cool that he's a fucking 50-year-old doing that shit. I love those behind the musics. My favorite ones are, of course, the Megadeth one.
Right.
Dave Mustaine drops like a legendary quote where he says, Megadeth's first drummer was like a jazz drummer. And I guess he, at the time, before Dave Mustaine ever did heroin, one day the drummer was doing heroin because all jazz musicians do heroin. And he told Dave Mustaine, if you want to be great, you have to do heroin. And I always thought that was like a classic quote. Yeah, if Dave Mustaine can like get off drugs, like anybody can get off drugs. Let me see, you're tripping, the Eat Me Drink. Yeah, no, nowadays I love the Eat Me Drink Me album. One of my favorite songs is off that album. Fuck, what's it called? Oh, I'm embarrassed. Let me look up the track listing. It's like one of my favorite songs of his at all time. Eat Me, Drink Me. Putting Holes in Happiness. Putting Holes in Happiness is one of my favorite tracks by him, and it's from that album. It's got a really cool guitar line. I think it's still John 5 era, and it's got a guitar solo that's yeah, it's a fucking banger. I love that track. So yeah, I definitely have come around. I like that album now. Let me find the personnel. No, it doesn't look like John 5 was in there. So it was Tim Skold who played guitars on the album. So Tim Skold did that guitar solo, which is really cool. I didn't realize it says Evan Rachel Wood had something to do with the Polaroid photography. So I guess John 5 might have been out by that time. He might have been playing live still though, but I don't know. John 5 is the man.
Did you ever watch John 5's he goes over his guitar collection? It's pretty cool.
I've seen a bunch of guitar videos with him. He's really into Telecasters.
Yeah, he's got like some really obscure weird shit. Like he's got a guitar with lava lamp shit inside of it. It's like super rare. Pretty cool.
Dude, I'm gonna pull up just because of this. Now I'm gonna pull up in about 20 minutes around. Then we'll get off of here because I gotta go for my run. I'm gonna pull up the Eat Me, Drink Me album.
I gotta go in like 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. I'll probably let you go when you gotta go, and then I'll talk for like 2 minutes, and then I'll get out of here. I did this thing last week where you know how sometimes when we get off, for some reason it cuts us off early.
Yeah, I seen you all awkward sitting there.
Yeah, I just kind of awkwardly sit. I realize now I don't have to sit for that long like I did last time, but I can sit for just like a couple seconds and then get off. I don't know how this thing does that. Like I hit end stream and then the stream ends like 15 seconds before I click end stream. Like how does that even make logical sense?
Doesn't. Getting back though to since you said you're into the behind the music, a couple of them that are really good is Blind Melon,
Motley Crue,
Sublime, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, I love Guns N' Roses. Yeah, and that's a great one.
Really sad. So is the Blind Melon one. Oasis, really good. So Oasis is coming back together. Did you know that? Yeah,
that was like the big news for the last few months.
Pretty cool. I would definitely go see them for sure.
I'm curious as to, I was talking about now our most played reel is me talking about you need to start getting in fights with your bandmates on stage. If any band is going to get in a fight on stage, it's going to be the brothers from Oasis.
But so when I went to see Smashing Pumpkins recently, they were all talking about it on the stage. Apparently, the one dude, the guitar player, I forget his name, the Asian dude, he said that he's a super big fan of them and he's pumped about it. And he was like talking about it on stage. It's pretty interesting to see them do a show and they're talking about another band, like just like bullshitting on stage. It's pretty cool. But by the way, Smashing Pumpkins show was phenomenal. They sounded amazing. They sounded like they did on CD. It was great.
Yeah, I love Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
I've liked them since I was a kid.
All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna get off, but I'm glad it worked out, and my back hurts from sitting near a window. So yeah, thanks for everybody that came in and commented, and y'all have a good night.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Later, man.
All right, later, man. All right, cool. He clicked out of here. Ain't the Smashing Pumpkins the guy? Yeah, Billy Corgan and the NWA. Dude, I saw that the NWA is gonna start streaming on Twitter now. Like they're so desperate for. I almost feel bad for him. You know, he tried to buy TNA and that didn't work out, and then now he owns the NWA. I guess the NWA was doing really well on YouTube, and then Nick Aldis left. I guess once Nick Aldis left, that's when it got bad. Like nobody gives a shit. I don't know why they're not still streaming on YouTube, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know why they're moving to Twitter. They got to like a small, tiny TV channel for a very short time, I think. I think they were close to it. Did you hear about that whole not scandal, but Billy Corgan got like a TV deal, and then they had a pay-per-view like the next day, and they did some weird skit where like all the wrestlers were doing cocaine, and then the TV deal was like, "What? No, we don't want this on our fucking TV show," and pulled out of the deal. I thought that was hilarious. It was like the funniest story I think I'd read. I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but and I don't remember what TV channel it was too, but they're talent pool. Yeah, I don't even know who they have. I really don't. I knew they had Nick Aldis at one point, but I think Billy Corgan just needs to. I don't know. I don't want to say he needs to call it, but Billy Corgan's rich, but Billy Corgan's not like fucking like Tony Khan rich. Like that's for sure. So it's not like he's just got money to be like wasting on wrestling promotions. Yeah, I almost feel bad for him. Back to this one, God, Guns, and Government Tour. That was like early 2000s, right? That would have been a cool time to. That would have been a cool time to see him. One of my favorite, yeah, 2000, starting on October 27th, 2000. One of my favorite Marilyn Manson stories is when they tried to tour with Hole, and him and Courtney Love like beefed the whole time. I like Courtney Love. I don't know what everyone else here thinks about Courtney Love. I like her. I like Hole a lot. I think Hole is like one of the best bands of all time. Yeah, there's still videos from MTV, I guess. Hole and Marilyn Manson went on tour, and they worked out a deal to where their teams, they were going to split the production cost of the stage show like 50-50. But Hole on stage, they don't really have anything fancy. I think Courtney Love said during one song, a bunch of glitter would come down from the ceiling, and that was it. But, you know, Marilyn Manson, he's got fucking a whole stage production and a whole thing, a whole show. So Courtney Love was like, I'm not going to split the bill with you because you put all the shit on your stage, and we don't have anything. So, so they ended up getting in a fight. And then they were like dissing each other in interviews, and like Marilyn Manson kept calling Courtney Love grandma, and he was like calling her old. And then Courtney Love was like, I'm only like 2 years older than Marilyn Manson. I'm actually curious to see what their age difference is. They're definitely not that far apart. Courtney Love today is 60. And Marilyn Manson is 55. Okay, so they're 5 years apart. And Marilyn Manson was on MTV calling Courtney Love old. Unrelated, but I saw Tony Hawk's and Kurt Cobain's. Yeah. The Tony Hawk's kid and Kurt Cobain's kid getting married is kind of like a meme at this point. It's like the funniest thing that's happened. EC3. I always hated EC3. I never liked EC3. You remember when him and Braun Strowman started Control Your Narrative Wrestling? like the most cringe thing that ever happened in wrestling, probably. Oh, dude, Kristen Pfaff. That whole story is crazy to me. Everyone talks about Kurt Cobain. I could go either way. I tend to think that Kurt Cobain did it himself. That's just my take. I've been in a similar position. I've been in the same position that Kurt Cobain is, just without the rock star status and the money. to put it lightly. So I can totally understand why he would want to take himself out. So I kind of think that he did it himself. But there's good evidence on the other side. But Kristen Pfaff, to me, that's the more interesting of the story. Like her friend like was sleeping in the U-Haul outside, which that in itself is odd. I think that's kind of odd that he goes outside to sleep in the U-Haul. And then he sees Eric Erlandson go into Kristen Pfaff's apartment and hours later sees him leave. And then hours later comes back inside and Kristen Pfaff is dead with a needle in her arm in a bathtub. So it's, yeah, Eric Erlandson came over, gave her some drugs, and she fucking died. Whether it was intentional or not is the question, but it's Eric Erlandson killed Kristen Pfaff. I think that's like the most interesting part, and that whole thing gets kind of swept under the rug or not swept under the rug, but overshadowed by the Kurt Cobain stuff. And I think it's way more damning. Way more damning. Like there's way more evidence that Eric Erlandson killed Kristen than there is that Courtney killed Kurt. Is the worst. I think he's their champ. Oh, is Control Your Narrative still going on? So EC3 booked created his own wrestling promotion and then won his own championship. Control Your Narrative Wrestling. Oh, there's not even a Wikipedia page for Control Your Narrative. That's how much nobody gave a shit. Yeah, but you see what I mean about the friend sleeping in the U-Haul? Like, to me, that's also strange. Everybody kind of talks about him like he's a very innocent. He was friends with Kristen Pfaff. You know, he's a very reliable source. Like, what are you doing sleeping in the U-Haul out front? And I'm pretty sure his story is just like, oh, EC3 is the NWA champ. Yeah, they're probably desperate for like a person that anybody knows about. But yeah, Kristen Pfaff's friend, who was also her bandmate in the band Janitor Joe, he says it like, oh, I went outside to get some fresh air. So like, first of all, nobody goes outside to get fresh air. That's such a TV trope. Like that's not a thing. He goes outside to, I don't know, get some air, go outside, and then he sits in the U-Haul and then just falls asleep or like just sits there. But then he's like, well, I saw Eric Erlandson walk inside. Okay, you know what's weird about that is that by this point, Kristen Pfaff, all of her family and friends, they know what happens when Eric Erlandson comes around. They know that they dated. They know they weren't good for each other. They know that they do drugs together. So wouldn't her friend see Eric Erlandson walk into the apartment and say, I should probably go in there because that's the guy that gives her heroin every time she comes to town? Why does he just sit in the U-Haul and watch Eric Erlandson walk inside the apartment and do nothing about it? And then he says he fell asleep. I don't remember if he said he mentioned seeing Eric Erlandson leave or not, or if he just woke up and then went inside and he was gone and she was dead. But yeah, either way, he is definitely guilty of, like at the least, I think it'd be like manslaughter or something. I don't know exactly. I guess it might not be because if she shot herself up, then yeah, that's how they always die. They're clean for a while and then their tolerance, lowers. And then, they think they can handle the amount they used to do. And then, yeah, that shit goes bad. Yeah, that one's terrible. Her mom wrote a book. I can't remember the name of the book, but her mom wrote like a whole book about, have you heard the story about the funeral? I guess, when Kristen Pfaff, her family had a funeral for her and they intentionally announced, we don't want anybody from Hole or the music business coming. This is going to be a family and friends funeral. And Eric Erlandson shows up like stoned out of his mind and like security tries to remove him and he like freaks out and he runs over to the casket with Kristen Pfaff inside of it and he like throws himself over the casket and starts screaming, I'm sorry, Kristen, I love you, Kristen. And everybody at the funeral is just like horrified, like this like 6'6", like 100-pound man like draped over her casket screaming and crying and security had to like pull him out and it was a big deal. Which, by the way, is totally me at like 17. I would totally do that when I was like 17, probably even like 21. But I think at this point, Eric Erlandson had to have been like, I don't know. I don't feel like doing the math, but she died in like 94. and he was born in 63. I really gotta pull up the fucking calculator for this. Okay, so he was 31. So he was my age right now, and he's going around throwing himself over ex-girlfriends' coffins at funerals. I thought that was a hysterical story. There's a whole channel. I really don't want to say it because I fucking hate this guy. I've kind of beefed with this guy on the internet a little bit before. There's a channel called American Spy Fox. The guy's a total con artist, total douchebag. But he used to, like a couple of years ago, he used to do really good videos where he talks about the Kurt Cobain conspiracy theories and Courtney Love and Kristen Pfaff and all that. He has since been kind of outed as he like sets up GoFundMe's for, and then doesn't actually do anything with the money. Well, he does something with the money, just not what he said he was going to do, stuff like buying himself stuff and whatever. But, yeah, he used to do really good stuff. He did a really good video about the whole Kristen Pfaff part of the story. I also shouldn't even mention it just because I'm going to get off in like 5 minutes. But have you heard about all that? There's a new YouTube channel out. I think it's literally called Who Killed Kurt? Yeah, Who Killed Kurt? The channel. And they have interview videos with a guy. His name is Joe Burns. And Joe Burns is this old guy who has an arm amputated, and he is claiming that Kurt Cobain was murdered and that he was there the night it happened. Like, he's coming out saying he witnessed Kurt Cobain's murder. He said it sounds like, I think he said it was Dylan Carlson and Callie DeWitt. There might have been one other person. I know there's some weird stuff about Callie DeWitt. Is it the uncle? Kurt Cobain's uncle? No, it's not him. Kurt Cobain's uncle, I think he thinks that Kurt was murdered, but this guy, Joe Burns, is a friend, or a supposed friend. He said he used to do drugs with Kurt. And yeah, straight up saying he was at the house when they shot Kurt. I knew there was some weird stuff about a kid, Courtney Love. Courtney Love's like evil. As much as I like her, her stuff goes pretty deep. Like, she had like a nanny who was like a teenager, like a 15 or 14-year-old kid named Callie DeWitt, and Courtney Love got him hooked on heroin because that was her thing. She'd get people hooked on heroin. And I think the main theory of the Courtney Love murdering Kurt is that for the money, if she kills him, because they were gonna split up. Kurt Cobain was gonna divorce Courtney Love. They were not doing well. They were constantly fighting. They were like talking to divorce lawyers, but if they divorce, the money's gonna get settled and it's gonna go. But if Kurt dies, Courtney gets all the money. So I think that's kind of the main. And then of course there's other little coincidences, like Hole put out their biggest album like fucking 2 weeks after Kurt died. So of course that boosted it a lot. There's a lot of stuff. I have disagreements though with to imagine how powerful you'd have to be to pull that off, to murder the biggest celebrity in the entire world and get away with it completely. But then it gets weird, and like Courtney Love's dad has like CIA ties and shit, and he was like one of the acid dealers for the Grateful Dead and like all kinds of like related to CIA stuff. So it does get weird. But I don't know. I still tend to think Kurt killed himself. But like I said, I could go either way. If you give me just a little bit more proof, I could go toward he was murdered. But yeah, Joe Burns, he said he was there. I think he was saying that like Dylan Carlson kept trying to get him to go outside, like he wanted him to leave. Do I have 6 right now? Because my platform right here tells me that I have 3. It's telling me that I have 2 on YouTube and 1 on Twitch, but my thing is always wrong. I notice I always seem to have like the most watchers as soon as I'm about to get off. Yeah, Courtney Love's dad wrote a whole book saying that she did it too. Like he was convinced that she did it. So it all gets weird. It's all weird stuff. There's nothing is ever normal. Now we're down to 5. You know, I'm gonna be out of here in like a minute anyways. Every time I do this, I have my TV on and I just leave it on YouTube and stuff just kind of comes up randomly. And every time I do this, I swear Theo Vaughn's show comes on for some reason. I don't know why. I've only ever watched like one episode of Theo Vaughn's show, but every time I'm streaming and I've got my TV on and it's muted, Theo Vaughn pops up. Like YouTube really wants me to watch Theo Vaughn for some reason. I think it's a funny guy. He's cool. Have you ever seen the I think Soaked in Bleach is kind of the biggest documentary for the Kurtwas murder thing. It was a really good documentary. I've heard a lot of things like discrepancies though. Like they messed with a lot of stuff and like edited things pretty selectively to make it fit what they wanted it to be. She might have done it. Yeah, it's a good even if you're not like into Nirvana, like the music, it's a cool like true crime case. It gets pretty interesting. Called The Y Files. I'm gonna look this up. Damn, 4 million subs. You'll have to check this stuff out. Okay, it's like mysteries and stuff. Okay, yeah, I'm really into this. I've been wanting to find more like conspiracy theory content. It's hard to find good ones. This does look big. I'll check it out. It looks big. Usually I do prefer when it comes to my conspiracy theory content. I really do prefer like stuff that looks like a guy made the video in his garage and has like 10,000 subscribers. But this does look pretty cool actually. They do a lot of alien stuff, it looks like. Time traveler. Yeah, it looks like some cool stuff. I'm like half and half with this stuff. Like I don't believe the president is like a fucking lizard that shapeshifts, but I do think there's a lot of funny shit going on with 9/11. So I'm like halfway a conspiracy theorist. I think people give the government too much credit. Like people think the government and the CIA is like this all powerful, whereas I think they're honestly like a bunch of fucking retards. I don't think they know what they're doing half the time. I think they get lucky sometimes, and that's the stories that we have. But that's about it. I can't give them enough credit to think that like they're shape-shifting lizards. Like, and then I also think it's funny that everybody believes all these like conspiracy theories, and they believe that all of like mainstream pop culture drops all these hints and clues. Like, if the president was a shape-shifting lizard, why would like Sabrina Carpenter hint at it in her songs? Like, I always hate that they're like, oh, they're sending us messages in the music and in the movies. Why would they do that? Why would they talk about like the moon landing? People talk about how if the moon landing was faked, Stanley Kubrick directed it, and then he put clues to it in The Shining. Why would Stanley Kubrick help NASA fake the moon landing and then put clues to it in his movies? Like, that would be like putting your family's safety at total risk. Why would you do that? Makes it sound reasonable, then either debunks it or leaves it like a mystery. Okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll have to check it out. The government is powerful by the way of oil tycoons who actually, yeah, it's just, I think it's just more so like dirty money guys. It's like the military industrial complex and like oil tycoons. I don't think they're actually like geniuses. Like when you think about like MK Ultra, MK Ultras are one of my favorite stories. MK Ultra, if you listen to like what actually went on with MK Ultra, it was like a bunch of bumbling morons like dosing up housewives with lethal doses of drugs, like thinking like there was no science, there was no actual like, it was literally like if I got a job at a doctor's office and some guy in a suit came in and was like, yeah, you have an appointment at 4, give her a shit ton of acid. And like, that's the whole, like, there is no like actual intelligence behind it. Paul McCartney died in 66. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites. obviously, no, I don't think Paul McCartney died, and I think what happened was that the Beatles, I think they were marketing geniuses. I think they picked up on this conspiracy theory, so they put all these signs on the album. That's what I think happened. They were like, "Let's have some fun with this." I guess the theory started, I learned recently that, Paul McCartney was at a party with, Mick Jagger, and, he was going home with Mick Jagger, but they got in Mick Jagger's car, and Paul McCartney's assistant at the time got in his car to drive Paul's car, and I guess he got into a car accident that night. So some bystanders saw Paul McCartney's car in a car accident, so that's why people thought that he died, because his, like, young assistant got into a wreck in his car. But then I think the Beatles heard about this, and I think they thought, "Let's milk this shit," because now people are gonna buy 2 records because they gotta play one backwards to get the clues. It's genius. It's just genius marketing. Yeah, MK Ultra is cool. There's a podcast called Behind the Bastards. I fucking hate the podcast. They're a bunch of fucking liberal fucking weirdos that think, that just think, like, all white people are racist, like, that kinda shit. It's just, like, really goofy shit. But they did do a series on, they did a series on Vince McMahon. I think I actually recommended that to you, Protomax, at one time. But they did a series on MK Ultra, and it was actually pretty interesting. They talked a lot about how at one point the CIA like owned a house in San Francisco, and it was just a trap house. They just had a guy who was like an ex-con that was just like giving people a shit ton of drugs. Like that's how they operated. Like the CIA just owned trap houses in San Francisco and we're just like dosing up people with acid. Like, yeah, it was just complete like chaos and just like debauchery. Like there was no real science behind it. You know, these aren't actually smart people. These are just like fucking morons that are just abusing their power and doing weird shit because it's fun. And then sometimes they get lucky. Sometimes shit works out. Sometimes they crash a couple planes into some towers, and you know, people believe that it was a couple of guys with box cutters. I'm trying to think about my favorite conspiracy theories, though. Yeah, of course, off the top of my head, I have none. We should just do a stream talking about conspiracy theories, though. That'd be a good time. Did I used to have a dealer? Well, he was a middleman, but you know, my dealer, he was really into all this stuff. Like he thought that like McDonald's was putting like had dead baby parts in their burgers and shit, and like thought that like the reason a McDonald's burger tasted so different from a Burger King burger was literally because like the ethnicity of the baby that they put into their burgers would be like different burgers and shit. Yeah, the Chris Jericho tweet about 9/11 was great. If only there was a bunch of WWE superstars on the airplanes when the hijackers showed up with their box cutters. I mean, I guess it's a good point. Like, imagine a dude pulling out a box cutter on an airplane, and like the Undertaker standing in the aisleway. Like, are you gonna try to cut the Undertaker with your box cutter? Mel's hole. I feel like I just heard about this recently. Was it you that mentioned it? Bottomless pit in Washington. That was the first made a radio show. Coast to coast. Oh, coast to coast, dude. Coast to coast. That's legendary stuff. Dude, anything that my guy Art Bell talked about, I'm interested in. You know, I have a cousin who apparently called into Coast to Coast one time. My uncle was telling me my cousin called into Coast to Coast because he swears he saw a firebird in the sky, like a phoenix one day. So he kept calling into Coast to Coast. And one day Art Bell yeah, he got to be on the show and he told Art Bell about the phoenix bird that he saw flying across the sky. If you know my cousin, he was definitely just high though. Okay, yeah, that's what you mentioned. Where did I hear about Mel's hole recently? Man identifying himself as yeah, let me see. 1997, a man identifying himself as Mel Waters appeared as a guest on Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Waters claimed that he owned a rural property 9 miles west of Ellensburg in something county, Washington. That contained a mysterious hole. According to Waters, the hole had an unknown depth. He claimed to have measured its depth using fishing line and a weight, although he still had not hit the bottom by the time 80,000 feet of line had been used. Dude, who has 80,000 feet of fucking fishing line? You claimed that his neighbor's dead dog had been seen alive sometime after it was thrown into the hole. According to Waters, the hole's magical properties prompted U.S. federal agents to seize the land and fund his relocation to Australia. That's pretty crazy. So the dog fell into the hole, and then the guy saw it later on. And this hole was apparently deeper than 80,000 feet. Dude, it's 80,000 feet. How far is that? That's like that's a long. It has 15 miles. I don't know if I typed this in right. 15. There's a really good podcast called The Confessionals. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Grimrock. If you're into stuff like the Wi-Fi, there's a really good podcast called The Confessionals. It's this guy. He's really good. He talks a lot about cryptids. I hate to start off saying he's really into Bigfoot, because as soon as you hear Bigfoot, it starts getting cheesy. But he's actually really into. Like, he has people that they come on and they talk about stories about like Nephilim. He had a guy on that swears he like saw a real life vampire. And a lot of these dudes are like rednecks, like from like the middle of fucking nowhere, Arkansas. Like they should have no business calling into podcasts like for clout. All kinds of crazy stuff on that show, but it's a really good. He gets into a lot of stuff. He had a trucker on one time. Okay, this is a good one. He had a truck driver on one time, a semi-truck driver. And this truck driver said he was driving out and about. He was in the middle of fucking nowhere in the back roads, and he needed to stop off, and he wanted to eat somewhere. So literally just in the middle of nowhere, he found what looked to be a diner. And he pulled off into the parking lot, and he said all of the cars in the parking lot were like old looking, like 1920s, 1930s looking cars. And he just thought, oh, there must be a car show in town. This looks cool. So he goes into the diner, and he said it. I just said 1920s cars. I mean more like 1950s, 1940s, 50s. So he walks into the diner, and he said it looks like he's in the 1950s. Like, he said this looked like a classic diner. Like, there are girls in dresses, and there are people on roller skates, and it's got the checkered floor. Like, it looks like a 50s diner. And he kind of just thought maybe it's just themed, and the customers also join along. I don't know. So then he claims he sits down, and something about he met a girl there, and this was a very, like a classic looking 1950s fucking some girl probably named like Betty Lou Jensen or something. And he said they hit it off really well. And he says he ends up fucking her in his truck, in the back of his semi truck. And when they were done, he tried to get her number. And when he asked for her number, she kind of looked at him funny and laughed, and then she took off. So he thought, okay, whatever, that's weird. So then he said he left, he went somewhere else. I think he went to his like destination. So then the next day, after he reaches his destination, drops off his load, he drives back, and he stops off at the same diner. This is the very next day. There's no more cars. He walks up to the front door of the diner, and there's like the door's locked, like it's like chained shut. And he looks inside the diner, and everything is rusted. It looks like it's been abandoned for years. Everything is all rusted. There's nobody in there. The place is shut down. Like, it looks like it was condemned. It's all closed down. So his idea, the guy that does the confessional, he's also very into portals. So he thinks the guy like somehow went through a portal at some point. Yeah, the portal stuff is cool. Most of this stuff, I'm not sure. Cryptids, I can get with some of the cryptids, like Bigfoot. I could see Bigfoot being real. It's just a big fucking monkey that we've never seen. Like, I'm sure there's hundreds of animals that we've never seen here before. I'm sure there is some really big fucking gorillas walking around out there that we'll just never catch or just have never caught yet. There's probably a shit ton of weird animals at the bottom of the ocean that we've never seen. Portals, I'm not sure, but they are really cool. He has a lot of episodes where he talks about like time slips, like people just kind of like memory hole, but it's like there'll be like multiple people in the car and they kind of just like slip through time or something. Those ones are always really interesting. I guess that's more my realm when it comes to like conspiracy theories. And then for political stuff, there's another podcast called Macroaggressions. It's like a play on microaggressions, but it's macroaggressions. And it's this guy talks a lot about he talks about 9/11 in like government conspiracy theories, and he talks about it like a lot of current day stuff too. Like I don't know, stuff that I'd be like in trouble for, like not like in trouble with YouTube, but like if a 19-year-old girl saw me talking about, she'd call me some name or something. They found fish we thought was extinct. Yeah, dude, the ocean scares the shit out of me. Like thinking about what all's got to be in the ocean. We've really not gone like deep down at all. It seems like there's got to be at least like hundreds of kinds of fucking animals we've never seen before in the ocean. I think one time I went to Seattle with Calamity Jane, and I remember like we went to like we went to the ocean somewhere there, and we were like standing on a dock, and I remember looking out at the ocean and was like, oh, this shit's like scary. It's just like a never ending like ocean. Like I don't know, it just kind of scared the shit out of me. But yeah, I would imagine there's all kinds of fish and like sharks and shit that we've never seen. Shit, there's probably like some kind of fucking dinosaur fish at the bottom of the ocean that we'll never catch. All right, I actually got to start winding down. I got to get the fuck out of here. Probably why people believe in the hollow earth theory and things living under us. Yeah, I've never looked too much into hollow earth theory. It sounds really interesting. I kind of like that idea that there's a world underneath our world. But then you would think, like, wouldn't some guy go out there and just start digging? Like, wouldn't, they always have, like, excuses, though. Like, people that believe in flat earth, the dealer that I was talking about that was a total conspiracy theorist. He believed in flat earth. And, tomorrow, I don't know if we're going to be on tomorrow. I'll try to be on tomorrow, actually. If you don't catch it, that's fine. But 50-50. Could be on tomorrow, might not. But yeah, the last thing I was saying, flat earth at a dealer. He believed in flat earth. And, they believe in the firmament. They believe that there's a giant ice wall that surrounds our flat earth. And I remember asking him one time, I'm like, well, if there's a giant ice wall surrounding the flat earth, why don't you just hop on a fucking boat and go out to it? And he was just like, oh, you can't get to it. I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, it's on the edge of the earth. Like, just go get a fucking boat. Go out. He's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You just can't get to it. I was like, okay, well, then explain it to me. I remember at one time he told me there's guards on a boat or something. And that's why. And then one time he just told me you just can't reach it. Like, you'll just never, like, the ocean will just infinitely. Yeah, they always have some reason as to why they can't explain things. So that's why I would wonder hollow earth. Like, why doesn't someone just get a fucking big drill and start digging? Dude, I would do it. I'd go, dude, I'd buy one of those fucking, check that shit out. Oh, wait, tomorrow I have a gig on my Saturday. Yeah, okay, yeah, right on. Saturday night, we're supposed to be talking about a movie. We're doing My Bloody Valentine from 1981. But that also depends on Mark's status. We were kind of able to get through tonight because we were just talking about whatever. But if we're talking about a movie, it might get a little difficult if his shit's cutting out constantly. So we'll probably try it out. We'll at least be on for 10 minutes while we decide if it's going to work or not. But yeah, for sure, man. I always appreciate you stopping by, and everyone else who stopped by. I'm gonna awkwardly take my headphones off now, sit for a couple seconds, and then I'll end the stream. I'll throw this one up really quick before I sign out of here, just because that's hilarious. I never heard that one before.